everybody, and welcome to the Lokalfeed show. My name is Azura, and today on the very first episode, we had the pleasure of sitting down with our very first Singapore's first Olympian rower, Aisyah. I had the pleasure of getting to know her back in 2015, 2016. She was overseas, training for the Rio Olympics in 2016. She was such a giving soul, and we knew that we wanted her to be a guest on our show. So on this episode, she shared a few things, her journey and struggles as an athlete, her love and hate relationship on something which she just picked up, and she shared her 3 truths and a little snippet on what's next for her. So before we get to it, if you do want to support us, there are a few ways for you to do so. Click the like button. You can share an episode with your friends. Help us share a little love, and watch this space for our next few guests. So before we jump into it, remember, be bold and always stay inspired. Always sharing the love. You've been rowing since before rowing. What were you doing before that? What were you interested in your passion in sports? Have you always been involved in sports?
Yes. So I started rowing when I was in secondary school.
Okay.
But before that, I was playing netball for my school, and also I was representing Singapore in the 15 and under squad.
Okay.
Yeah. So I come from a very sporty family because I grew up with 4 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So they all play sports. They are into football. So I think it's quite natural for me to be active as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also having grown up with 4 brothers, it also makes me very competitive.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think it helps in the part of being an athlete.
Okay. So you mentioned netball. Why? Why did you?
So I love netball. I love the sport. So much so that even after I left netball as an athlete, I'm still coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to choose between netball and rowing when I came to JC because the trainings were clashing.
Okay.
And both coaches were unhappy, so I had to make a choice.
Okay.
And I chose rowing because basically rowing had further progression. You can go to Asian Games, SEA Games, because at that point in time there's no SEA Games in netball, and also the Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah, and also because the first competition that I went for rowing is in Germany, so it brought me all over the world.
Okay.
But for netball, it's usually regionals, and not all the countries compete in it. So yeah.
Okay. So is it fair to say that you've actually competed in both a team sport and an individual sport? So since you've been rowing for 13 years, am I right? Okay, it's 13 years. So do you feel that you miss a team sport, or you are,
Yeah, I definitely miss the team sport. Rowing is a very individual sport. So much so that so I always train on my own for rowing, and then when I come back to Singapore and train with the team, I'm not used to being with a team.
Okay.
It sometimes annoys me that they do some things that don't fit with my routine. So as much as I want to say I'm a team player, but rowing has made me become such a individual person. But of course I miss being in a team because after training you can have breakfast or lunch with your friends, with your teammates. But for when I was rowing, everything I did was on my own.
Okay.
Yeah, so I miss it a lot.
Okay. But mentioning that, will you ever imagine life without rowing? As in, it's part of you, right? It's part of who you, what you do every day for the past 13 years.
Yeah.
For you to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
So, tell us a bit more about that. About how you.
Well, when I was training intensively for the Olympics, so it was rowing every single day. I can never imagine myself without rowing because it became part of my life. But then I was seeing a mental skills coach then, sports psychologist, and he did advise me to not think rowing as your life, and think about it as part of your life. Because eventually one day everyone will have to stop their sport. They have to retire. And then that's when all these challenges depression, feeling and loss of identity comes in, because you lose something that you feel that is part of your life. But actually you are always human first, and then athlete second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what we tend to forget when we are always being so involved in our sport or involved in whatever work that we're doing, that we forget that, it's okay to take a break sometimes, or it's okay to be human. Yeah, so initially when I was at my peak, when it was the Olympic period, I cannot imagine my life without rowing. But now that it has like lulled down a little, I'm trying to get used to the life without rowing, because I know that eventually I won't be able to row one day. Yeah.
How's that going for you?
Well, I have prettier hands now because I used to have blisters all over my hands.
Calluses and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even someone commented the other day like, "Wow, you have more feminine arms." I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" I miss rowing. I miss rowing a lot. But of course, definitely, I feel that I'm not done yet with rowing. I will definitely get back into it. I'm not retired yet. Just taking it one step at a time. But the good thing about not rowing is that I get to do more other stuff. Like now I'm training for triathlon. So triathlon, you have 3 sports to train, so it gives me more time for that. And you don't have to wake up at crazy hours in the morning, like 4 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. to get on the water. And I think one of the best part is because you get in the water, because you don't really be in the water all the time, you don't get so dark. I used to be so dark. It's like the fairest I've ever been. But but I try to keep my fitness up by doing all this triathlon. I still go to the gym as well. I guess that's it.
Okay, but why the sudden interest of triathlon? Have you always been interested in, cycling, running and swimming, right? It's like 3 reasons. Have you always wondered that, okay, if I retire, I will do triathlon?
No, not at all.
Okay, so what makes you want to take that
That's very strange because I couldn't swim last year. So I just picked up swimming last year.
Okay.
And I hated cycling.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate it so much. Usually during our rowing training camps, we'll go cycle for about 3 hours and I hate it. So I know that it's I want to overcome a fear of swimming in the sea. Just because I went surfing once and then the board hit my nose and I broke my nose, so that's why I never dared to swim in the sea. So it was about overcoming my fears and also to just deal with what I hate, which is cycling. And then eventually I started to like it. Like the more I do it, I start to like it. Yeah. So I thought, okay, since I'm already doing a lot of running and I can swim now, and I like cycling, so why not I try to do a triathlon? Yeah. So I signed up for the first triathlon, which is the sprint triathlon, the Trifecta in Singapore. And I gave myself 1 month to train for it. I know 1 month is a bit too short, but like a lot of people train like a year or more than a year for it. But I think the shorter the deadline, the better. It gives you more pressure.
Yes, that's right. That's how athletes are. We actually like self-driven.
Otherwise, when it's too long, you have to take your own swim time.
So
I was swimming every single day for 1 month. Like I couldn't even complete like a lap in the pool, like 50 meters. So when I completed the first 50 meters, it was like an achievement. And then the next week, I tried to complete like 100 meters without stopping. And then eventually, I built up to like 1K and then 2K. Then I was like, wow! At the start of this month, I couldn't even swim. Yeah, so that was why I did the triathlon. And because I have a lot of people, friends who did triathlon as well. I mean, they do triathlon like Ironman and all that. So I was wondering like what's so fun and addictive about it. But it's actually quite addictive because trainings are very long and you're always like, it's similar to rowing, long trainings, and it's you and only by yourself. So you're always talking to yourself. So it's quite therapeutic in a way. But you're killing yourself, but it's quite therapeutic. So
the irony there, right?
Yeah, but after my first triathlon, I feel that it was painful, but I wanted to do more.
That's very interesting. Okay, can I just ask you? Is it? I mean, you talking about your triathlon and you just picked it up 1 month and stuff like that, right? So, can I just ask you? Is it? I mean, have you mentally, right? People always say that you have to have the mental strength as an athlete, right? It's one of the most important factor of being an athlete, right? I mean, for us not to give up and stuff like that. What do you think that plays a part? That you picked it up in 1 month and you improve so much in just a month. I mean, the factors that brings it.
Wow, I've never really thought about it that way, but I think it does play a role. Like being like mentally resilient, like knowing that you only have 1 month and you have to make use of every single day to train for that race. But yeah, I think because I'm very used to pushing myself every day for rowing as well, so I think that transition into doing this long hours of training for triathlon was quite easy for me, because some people are not used to running like 10k every day. But for rowing,
you ran 10k every day.
I know, I'm a bit crazy like that. But yeah, because I'm used to it, so I think that's why it was easier. But maybe being used to it also built my mental strength. I didn't really thought about it that way. But yeah, I think it did play a part.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Oh my gosh, 10 kilometers every day. You mentioned about just want to touch something about struggles as an athlete. As in, how do you get through your day to day? Do you have a job? I mean, when you were rowing and stuff like that. So what's the process like in Singapore, like say, to be a full-time athlete and stuff like that?
Okay, before the Olympic year, I was working in Ngee Ann Poly as a sports officer. And that was quite difficult because I had to train like about 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. around that period, and I had to rush to work. Start at 8 a.m. and then I finish at 6 p.m. and then after that I go back to training. So every day was like that, just repeat, and sometimes during lunchtime I have to train as well. And then I realized that it brought me nowhere. Like my performance in rowing wasn't that good, my performance at work wasn't that good. So that's why I decided to let go of my job. But thankfully my employees were employers were very supportive. Like Ngee Ann Poly gave me about 2 years worth of no pay leave for me to go pursue my athletic career. And then I became a full-time athlete. So that was much easier because after training you get to rest, which usually most of us don't do. But then I had to struggle a bit with resting as well, because I'm not used to resting. And then you tend to like walk around or go shopping or do all these things. But my coach said as a full-time athlete, rest means rest. Like you really have to sit down or lie down and do absolutely nothing, which I needed to get used to. Yeah, but now that the full-time athlete period is over, it's so hard for me to find time to rest again.
But support system is very important, right? I mean, throughout the 13 years, I mean, how important is a support system? Let's say, I mean, to any athlete or to the young athletes that they want. I mean, for parents, and it comes to your TMs and your coaches, and I mean the surrounding. How important is support?
I believe that it is very important. For my family, my brothers were very supportive, my dad's very supportive, but the biggest challenge was my mom. My mom was not supportive at all because rowing always took me away from her. So she didn't really like the fact that I'm always overseas and not with her because I'm her only daughter. So, but then the thing is, they, all these quotes that you see online, they say that, you should only surround yourself with people who motivate you, and then your mom isn't motivating you. So that's why, as much as I don't like leaving home, like sometimes being away from home also, I realize that it makes me better.
There's no emotional. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have your mom to nag you. You can be an adult finally.
That's the key, right? Okay.
And then support system, like your coach is very important. Your coach must believe in you, because for me, my coach before the Olympics period, he was a volunteer coach, so he was not paid for about 3 years. But he was there for every training before me. So knowing that your coach is more dedicated than you, makes you want to push as hard as you can, like do it for him. And then I have the support of course, Sports SG came in after that, and then they provided me with all this the scholarship, which lifted a lot of financial burden off my shoulders. So because of that, I can concentrate more on just training and just pushing myself like every single day. I don't have to think about where to get this money from, how to set up a crowd fund and all that kind of things.
But that's a struggle, right? As in, if you want to pursue something that you really love, and then you know that you have to focus 100% on that. But would you do anything different?
Actually, no. Even if when I set up the crowdfunding page for the Olympics journey, it made some people unhappy. But even if it made some people unhappy, I think I've learned a lot from that. I've learned a lot to communicate better with people so that they don't be so unhappy. But I don't regret any steps that I take.
Okay, that's good. It's a learning journey, because if you were to, you will never know what the outcome is.
Exactly.
Okay. What is something that you're most proud of that people don't know? Or I don't know whether what is something that you're really proud of that most people don't know? Maybe your mom knows or someone close to you, but someone that you want to share. Something that you want to share that you're most proud of. Come on.
This is a hard question actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The moment that you're most proud of?
I guess
it doesn't have to be like rowing. It can be anything.
actually it's rowing.
Okay. What would I expect?
The moment my mom like when like she brings me out and then she tells her friend, oh, this is my daughter, the Olympic rower. Wow, that moment really like changed my life. Like, after years and years of her not being like happy about your rowing achievement. I mean, like she's always happy about my rowing achievements, but it's always hard for me to leave the country to train and compete. But the moment like you see for yourself that she goes telling her friends, like even strangers, like, oh, this is my daughter, she represents Singapore, in rowing. So it makes me like, wow, all these sacrifices is actually quite worth it.
So that's the most
Proudest moment.
So it's easy to say to you, very close to your mom.
No, not at all.
You're not close to your
I
mom,
think we have this typical like mother-daughter, fiction.
Okay. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, and she gives me a lot of pressure because I'm her only daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, so I must lead that normal daughter life, but I'm nothing like that. I keep on disappointing her. So I cannot be her ideal daughter.
It's okay. I mean, you are her daughter, and I think she's very. I mean, I can bet she's very proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about that, okay, what is the most humbling experience that you've had?
So hard.
Okay, it's just okay. Take your time. What's the most humbling experience?
I guess for me is when people come up to me and say that, wow, because of you, I decided to do this, or I decided to overcome this fear, or I decided to chase this dream or goal. When kids come to you and say, I want to be just like you, you never imagine that you'll be a role model or you will be able to motivate someone in your life. And being able to be that person, I think, makes you think about how far you've come in the journey, and knowing that you've been through all these obstacles, but then you push through. I guess it sort of like, no matter how far you are on top, like all these moments remind me that always don't forget where you come from. Yeah. Okay. Because I come from honestly, it's a dysfunctional family. Like my parents were divorced when I was 4. And then in the typical setting, Malay setting, divorced family, you expect a lot of problems. But despite all these problems that I have in my family, I mean, every family has their problems. Like I always go around, like especially when I go to like community centers or like girls' homes and things like that. I always encourage them to not think about their family background to shape them into what they are. Like don't say that, oh, because my parents are divorced, I have to be this way. I don't think it should be that way. But I mean, like even if you achieve like achievement one day, but you should always like not forget where you come from. So that's when we always have to give back. Yeah.
So you always believe in giving back?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because I think that if we don't do the giving back, then who else will, right? Yeah.
Then what's the point, right? As in,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned something about the tough times.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everyone goes through tough times differently. Through bad days. I mean, every day can be a bad day. 1 minute of a good second is motivating enough. But how do you actually get through the struggles of a bad day, of a bad moment? How do you pick yourself up?
Okay. I used to use training as an outlet, like because I'm having a bad day, I will like go all out, like push myself.
Okay.
Because for me, training is as hard as it is, it's quite therapeutic. That's why I enjoy it. But how I overcome a bad day is always to remind myself that things will always get better. Like no matter how shit you feel, that's when you feel that it's the lowest, and then you want to get out of there, and you will eventually do something to get out of there. So knowing that you have a bad day will actually make you appreciate good days even more. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, that's right. So do you have a favorite tune? Or is that, I mean, favorite playlist or tune is the one song that you...
Like a song, is it?
Like a song that like...
I think it changes
from
like
different
year
mood,
to
is it?
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually in a rowing season, I will have one song that I always listen to.
Okay.
And then the next season there's another song.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, it's just weird that way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I remember the songs that, I always listened to last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, just I'm just curious.
I mean, during the Olympics, I remember that it was Brave by Sarah.
Okay.
What's her name? Barisils.
Berserial.
But Brave, So it was a very motivating song.
So you listen to the song
On repeat.
just okay, that's interesting. We should try that. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna ask you. Hang on. Sorry, I had a pause moment. Okay, I just want to ask you. Okay, if let's say, we try to live every day like it's to give back and to give, let's say, simple good vibes, right? If today was your last day, what are the 3 lessons that you will share, or three lessons that you want to share? 3 things that's very important for you. 3 truths.
Okay, I think number 1 and the very most important is always be kind to others. Yeah, I think it's in a world of all this hatred and cruelty, I think it's important for us to be kind to each other because we're lacking in that. Number 2 is do what makes you happy and not what makes others happy. I think we all live too much about thinking about what others think. Yeah, so I think we should focus more on ourselves because we only live once.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the third one would be there's a lot. I don't know how to choose. Let me see. What do I live by?
Something close to you.
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, it's giving back. There's always, because I always tell myself that okay, when I'm rich one day, I will give back to society. But when I'm ready, I will always give back. But there's never a time when you're ready. Even if you are not rich, but I'm sure you're rich in some of things. Like for me, I feel that I'm rich in all these experiences that others can learn from. So that's why I'm going around sharing all this wisdom that I have, stories to share. And it's my way of giving back, even though I'm not rich. And you can give back anything to society. And I think with the giving back and kindness, I think we have the ability to change the world, one step at a time.
That's well said. Actually, the last part is very well said. One step at a time. One step at a time. Sorry, I'm just want to go back a bit, right? Because you mentioned about rowing and stuff like that. So, what are you going to do now? As in, you've put rowing at the halt at the moment, or are you going to? What's your plan?
Sure, I'm taking a break from rowing.
Okay.
I'm slowly trying to get back into it.
Okay.
But it's been challenging. That's why I distract myself with all these triathlons. But also because I want to go back into teaching, so I intend to go overseas to do some volunteering teaching and also coaching, and also learn how other countries set up their boat clubs, how their boat clubs are being run, so that I can gain all this experience, bring it back to Singapore, and eventually, who knows, I'll be able to set up my own boat club.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. So the next 6 months you'll be floating around.
I'll be away, yes.
Floating around, okay. To do your teaching and stuff like that in other countries. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask you something. This one's good. I think it will be a bit more stressful for you. Okay. No, I mean it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Okay. So if you only got 5 seconds to think. Okay. 5 seconds. I'm gonna literally 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. What is at the top of your head? What is the most craziest thing that's at the top of your head that you would do right now? 5 seconds. As anything in the world. 5 seconds. 5.
Easy. I'll just take a plane and go to Hawaii, maybe.
Why Hawaii?
I don't know.
Curious. Okay, why Hawaii though? As in,
I've always wanted to go to Hawaii.
Oh, really?
I think it's beautiful there.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who've been there and told me it's beautiful. I love the beach, and I'm only that kind who likes to get away to all these places because I feel that being here is quite stifling. Yeah.
Stressful, I guess.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap it up. I mean, we thank you for coming. Wait, hang on, I got one question. Sorry, I think I'm going to kill me. But okay, I got one more question. Okay. What is your definition of legacy? As in, what do you, I mean, you are an Olympian. I mean, the only Olympian, rowing Olympian. What's the legacy that you want to leave behind? People know you, but what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? What is legacy? What is legacy to you?
I think legacy to me is creating an impact on someone's life. I think you can be as great as you can, but if you don't, create an impact, I don't think that's considered that great. So for me, is being able to promote my sport, share the love of the sport to others, and seeing that others can benefit from rowing, being fitter, or even helping someone get to the Olympics. I think that would be my idea of a legacy.
Okay. We're gonna close this up. I just want to tell you that, I mean, really thank you for coming by. I mean, we had the first interview online, remember? I think it was like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it was so long ago.
So long ago. It was before your Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, you were very how do I say this? You were very oh my god, I just lost the word. Sorry. You're very generous, as in generous with your time, and I mean that's the thing. That's why I felt that we wanted to approach you, because you're such a genuine person, and we really appreciate you. Really a very genuine person, and all the best. I mean, we hope that you will continue growing one day, but it's okay. I mean, like you said, right? You will go at your own pace, and you'll do at your own pace.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Okay, before we end, where can we find you? Instagram, social media.
Can I talk to the camera now?
Yes, you talk to them.
Okay, you can follow me on my Instagram at Aisyah, ARIESYAH, or my Facebook page at Aisyah Rowan.
Okay, and also you have a what's that? A podcast?
Oh yeah, I do have a podcast.
That's right.
I'm doing this podcast for athletes, and it's called Sports Gala Show. You can find it on YouTube and also on is it iTunes and all that kind of thing. I'm such a noob still, but you can always find it on YouTube, or I also have an Instagram account on it, Sports Gala Show, one word. And you can find a lot of information there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for today, folks.